AmericanMusicConcepts.com.
Hi, it's Jim Reilly from the Jingle Company, American Music Concepts, and welcome to our very first podcast. We are the premier jingle company in the country. We've done over 10,000 client jingles, and we're going to talk a little bit about jingles on our podcast here. We'll interview Baron Wiley, Director of Sales from Salem Communications in San Antonio. We'll check in with Peter Radd from Las Vegas, one of my favorite jingle producers in the whole world, and we'll play some jingles. It's the Jingle Podcast. Welcome.
AmericanMusicConcepts.com.
Come on down to Ballard's, we got saddles, tack, and more. The best around since 72, just go ask any horse. We hand make everything, you get the lowest price around. The finest Western style clothes and boots. Come on down to Ballard's Western Wear. So put your rear in our gear, that's right, at Ballard's Western Wear. Come on down, put your rear in our gear at Ballard's Western Wear.
Smoking lead, we're American strong and our blood runs red. Gun smoking lead, we have the right to bear arms. That's what our founders said. Protect yourself and what you own. Gun smoking lead, gun smoking lead, gun smoking lead, gun smoking lead, gunsmokinglead.com.
Larson's Feed and Pet Supplies, gourmet dining for all your animals, big and small. We've got dog food, cat food, rabbit food, great boots, rye and oat hay, chicken, goat, hog feed, fire logs, western saddles, and tack to save time with our quick delivery. Serving you since 1974. See Larson's Feed and Pet Supply.com. Larson's Feed and Pet Supplies, gourmet dining for all your animals, big and small.
Three really nice country western jingles. First up was Ballard's Western Wear from Palm Springs, California. Tom Ballard, what a nice man to do business with. Gunsmoking Lead is in Fort Myers, Florida, and Larson's Feed in Santa Rosa, California. All right, let's get started with our podcast. It's the Jingle Company, American Music Concepts. We are the premier jingle company in the country. I have traveled to all 50 states working with radio and TV stations and have done over 10,000 client jingles. We're going to go to the phones here and pick up Baron Wiley. Baron Wiley's the Director of Sales from Salem Media Group in San Antonio, Texas. Hello there, Baron.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, Baron, please tell us about the Salem Media Group.
Well, the Salem Media Group is about 119 stations strong from coast to coast. Here in San Antonio, I oversee 4 formats, news talk, Christian teaching talk, Christian music, and also a Spanish station. It's been a great 15-year run, and I'm overseeing sales, so you do know what that's like.
You know, I was thinking, Baron, that you work closely with hundreds of local direct small business owners, and I know you want each and every one of them to be successful marketing partners with Salem. Is there a basic strategy to radio advertising that you find works best for local direct clients?
Well, some things never change. It's always about reach and frequency, and there's no cookie-cutter answer for that. Every campaign is unique with different ideas and different... It's almost kind of like, rolling up your sleeve and saying, do you want to buy a watch? There's just so many different options and choices. It's just honing in on that right idea. And you know what? A jingle has been a great answer for a lot of our local clients.
Hey, can you share a recent success story? I imagine you have many, many happy customers.
Yeah, the great thing about radio, especially talk radio, is that it's immediate. If we need to go talk about something, we can go talk about it right now. There's no hair and makeup and show prep, etc. I host a show called Home Team Radio, so we recognize great local businesses. And so we were able to, last Friday, in fact, interview a restaurant owner celebrating their 12th anniversary, and they were running a 12% off special. And so we were able to do a 10-minute interview of the history of this great Greek restaurant in San Antonio. And hey, guess what? We ran it at 6 o'clock, and they got slammed. Because it was that immediate, people could turn their cars around and go and support their local business. And so those are kind of fun things that happen on a regular basis.
We've had great conversations about music over the years, and you've turned me on to some great bands like King's X. You had an experience with Phil Collins.
Yeah, pretty cool. A lot of people don't know that Phil Collins is a huge fan of the Alamo. Grew up watching Davy Crockett and when he became rich and famous, he says that he didn't do drugs or drink, so he spent all his money on collecting real historical artifacts from the Alamo, uniforms and buttons and bullets and cannons and Bowie knives, etc., and stockpiled this huge collection. Well, he came to a point in his life where he wanted to make a big donation to the city of San Antonio and the Alamo. So there's coming soon is the official Phil Collins collection. And so he came to San Antonio to hold a press conference, and I was there, of course. Didn't miss that chance to meet a great guy I grew up listening to. Very kind and very generous, and in fact, he was extra generous to me in that my daughter was in an elementary school play doing Tarzan, and of course, he wrote all the music for the Tarzan musical. So he recorded a special message for the parents and the kids there before the show began, and it was a huge surprise for all of us 40, 50-something-year-old parents to hear a message from Phil Collins.
A couple quick questions for you, Baron. What was your first rock concert?
My first show was a band called the Imperials. Actually, it was a Southern Gospel quartet, but actually it was famous for singing with Elvis back in the day. A guy named Russ Taff had just joined him, and he's a great Nashville singer who actually has a lot of influence on bands today, like the Kings of Leon.
How about your favorite recording artist of all time? Anybody, your favorite?
Well, I appreciate you checking out King's X. They are one of my favorite bands that combines a lot of Beatle harmonies with some great groove and a great rock kick there. But my favorite artist of all time is a guy that a lot of musicians know about, but the world doesn't know about. It's kind of a musician's musician, and his name is Phil Keaggy. Phil Keaggy, if you've never heard him, go YouTube some Phil Keaggy, and I'm just warning you now, you're going to have a new favorite guitarist too, so check it out.
Hey, Baron, if you can only take one record album through the pearly gates, what record are you taking with you?
Wow. Can I do the Led Zeppelin box set if I can only have one?
Sure. That's a great choice. We really have done quite a few Jingle projects together.
Well, Jingle clients are long-term clients. You're not going to buy a Jingle unless you're in it for the long haul. And so that's what's so great. It gives them a vision to saying, well, I've got this thing, let's use it. And of course, the biggest payoff is when they tell me all the time that people sing their name. Matter of fact, one of them is a lawyer. And Charlie Weisinger is his name. And he was in court. And the judge said, all right, Charlie, let's all sing it together. And they sang his Jingle in the courtroom. And you just can't beat that.
Well, Baron, any last thoughts for our radio friends tuned in to the podcast?
Yeah, it's one more tool in our toolbox that we can offer to be the media experts for our clients. And if you're a general sales manager, a director of sales, and you haven't met Jim, please bring him in. And I tell you what, just let him do his thing. You don't have to do anything. He just makes the magic happen and turns them into rock stars instantly, like I say with my friend Charlie Weisinger. My confidence is high every time I present this idea to a client because, well, Jim, you just knock it out of the park every time. You work with first-class guys, you paint the picture and give the vision, and can't wait to have you back.
Well, thank you, Baron Wiley, Director of Sales, Salem Media Group in San Antonio, Texas. You are a good friend. Here's a great jingle that Baron and I worked on together a few years back for the Alamo City Chocolate Factory.
Alamo City Chocolate Factory.
Live the sweet life. Smell the rich aroma of chocolate when you walk in the door. Chocolate dipped strawberries, you're gonna love it. Ice cream, chocolate confections, and more. Making people smile, that's what we're here for.
Alamo City Chocolate Factory.
Live the sweet life.
High altitude, great attitude, eBird Family Clinic. Compassionate care in a fun and friendly atmosphere. Staying happy and healthy is what we know. In our unique environment, we've got the experience in these Rocky Mountains. We're helping you grow. High altitude, great attitude, eBird Family Clinic.
It's home and you are family. Peace of mind with people you trust. The feel of home, a distinctive touch. Senior living for those you hold dear. From our family to yours, the possibilities are here. Weatherly Inn, it's home and you are family.
Keystone, Divers, Robin, Troutman Insurance. Insurance freedom. Take back better home coverages. Take back affordable auto rates. Insurance protection designed for you. Built on what makes this country great. 10 quotes in 10 minutes. Call now, don't wait. Keystone, Divers, Robin, Troutman Insurance. Insurance freedom.
It's the podcast from the Jingle Company, American Music Concepts. That's a real nice patriotic piece for Diebler Straub Troutman Insurance in Millersburg, Pennsylvania. Did that with a good friend, Rick Cooper from WQLV, Millersburg, PA. The Weatherly Inn from Seattle, Washington. Ebert Family Clinic from Frisco, Colorado. And the Alamo City Chocolate Factory that Baron Wiley and I worked on together in San Antonio, Texas. Again, thanks, Baron. Baron Wiley from the Salem Media Group in San Antonio. Let's check in with one of my favorite jingle producers of all time, Peter Radd. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Jim.
Peter and I go way back. In fact, we've been teaming up for close to 25 years. You really, really love the jingle business, don't you?
Yeah, I really do love the jingle business. It gives me a chance to connect my interest in music with my great interest in advertising and helping clients connect with their customers. The most important thing is that that client is happy with that jingle and that it represents them to their community in a way that they're comfortable with.
So, Peter, when did you first start playing the piano?
Oh, man, I started playing piano as a young boy. My father played and taught music, and I was inspired by him. I think I started taking lessons at the age of 4. I played all the way through school, and that was my major in college.
Please tell our listeners about your background, Pete. You know, bands you've toured with, records you've played on, things like that.
Well, I played in a country western band starting in high school and worked my way through college playing on weekends, playing country western and polkas. And later I was on cruise ships, and then I was in some show bands touring around the United States. And then I moved to Nevada and was asked to be the piano player for the Four Tops, the Motown group, the Four Tops. It was still the original four at the time. And I toured with them for 6 years, also appeared on an album with them. And after that, I was asked to be the music director of the Temptations. Played all over the country with both groups, did some Super Bowls, did a presidential inauguration, trips to Europe, trip to Australia once, Japan.
What an exciting career being a professional musician. Let's talk about creating jingles. When I assign a jingle project to you, Peter, you call the client to have a chat. We call them creative calls.
Yeah, the first phone call that I do with a client is very important. It sets the tone for the entire project. And of course, you want to get a lot of information. I like to go on their website before they call them, so I have some kind of idea. The most important thing that I want them to do is to kind of feel safe. A lot of these clients that you bring me, Jim, have been in business for a long time. These are very accomplished business owners. They're stepping up their game. A lot of them have been on the radio for a little while. They're having some success with radio, and they want to turn up the heat on their radio advertising, and that involves a jingle. In some ways, they are newbies to jingles, and I like to let them know that I'm going to keep working till they're happy. And I also want them to know very much that a jingle is a collaboration between myself and them.
What's next? Lyrics? Music tracks?
Well, after we've had the first phone call, the first thing is I do think about what the lyrics are for the jingle. The lyrics is the most important thing in terms of the client's marketing or advertising goals. Sometimes people will say, well, yeah, jingles, they're just this little thing that are intended to be catchy. The next question is, what is it that the client wants people to catch? Is it a phone number? Is it a good position statement, a slogan, maybe a website? I go over those things with the client in detail, but pretty much it's the lyrics and the words that I deal with next, yeah.
You also have been handling all my Spanish language jingle projects over the years.
I have surrounded myself with some decent people who are versed in that, and when I want to do a Spanish language project, I rely on them heavily, find out from my clients what they want, and I have these people help me with the Spanish language and anything else culturally that I might need to be aware of to help deliver a client's message to the market.
Peter, you were telling me about your transistor radio a few years back.
At the age of, I think I want to say 9 or 10 maybe, I was given a transistor radio, and I got the battery in it, and I took it out in the backyard, and I'm not making this up. I turned it on. I tuned into the local station, which was near Minneapolis at the time, a station called KDWB, and the first song that I heard on that radio was Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got. And that's a song by the Four Tops. And of course, I love the tune, who doesn't? And I had no idea that several years later, I'd actually be their piano player.
That's very cool, Pete. You played piano with Jerry Lewis during the Jerry Lewis telethons.
Yeah, I did play piano in the Jerry Lewis Telethon Orchestra the last few years of the telethon. I didn't get to know Mr. Lewis in a personal kind of way. However, I did work with Mr. Lewis, or under his baton, you might say. Mr. Lewis was very proactive in the music rehearsals that went on leading up to the telethon. There were a lot of comedy bits and music comedy bits that he did. He had a lot of music written. He was very much into the music and to the details of the music. He was a brilliant man, very involved in all the details and all the nuances of the music.
I've always been an Allman Brothers Band freak. You sat in and played with those guys one night.
Yeah, I did get to play one night with members of the Allman Brothers Band. So going back to President Bill Clinton's first inauguration, would that have been 92 or 93? I was with the Four Tops at the time, and we were invited to play at one of the inaugural balls for President Clinton's inauguration, as were many bands at the time, including the Allman Brothers. And a lot of us were staying in, the few hotels around Washington there. And it turns out that the Allman Brothers were staying in our hotel. And I was in the elevator with some guys, and they started talking, and I could tell they were musicians. I just started shaking their hands, and we've learned. I told them I'm Peter with the Four Tops Band, and they introduced themselves, and they said, well, we're going to a blues club. You want to come with us? So I went out that night to just some local blues band in Washington, D.C., and had a good time playing blues all night with the members of the Allman Brothers Band.
You are awesome, Pete. We're wrapping things up with Peter Radd, jingle producer from Las Vegas. Any final thoughts on the power of music and how there's really no better way to build a brand?
Music and lyrics and a good catchy jingle are still one of the most powerful ways to make a message memorable. There are a lot of national advertisers who will spend buku thousands of dollars for the rights of a pop song when they could actually spend a very reasonable amount of money with a guy like me and a guy like Jim, and we could actually come up with an original piece of music for them, which they can own. I would presume that a lot of the work that we have done together is playing right now in the radio in many, many cities across the United States. We are making brands powerful, catchy, and we're making messages memorable. We're selling products, and we're selling companies every single day, and that's a great feeling.
I am one lucky guy to have you on my team. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Peter. Let's play a couple jingles that Peter Radd produced for me over the years. Let's do the Bumper Clinic from Indio, California, an auto body center that was tricked out like a hospital. And their slogan is, the doctor is in. It's the Bumper Clinic, a great jingle produced by Peter Radd in Las Vegas.
Auto body work whenever you need it. The doctor is in at the Bumper Clinic. Professional body work, the best anywhere. Paint bits, auto glass, plastic repair. Come see the doctor if you've had a collision. Restore it to its original condition. Free estimates, insurance claims. Call the Bumper Clinic. Remember that name. Auto body work whenever you need it. The doctor is in, he'll see you now. The doctor is in at the Bumper Clinic.
Here's a client that Peter and I worked on in Virginia Beach, Ocean Breeze Water Park.
Ocean Breeze Water Park, water that moves you. Oh yeah. Try the Bahama Mama.
Take a ride on the slide.
Or the Runaway Bay.
Catch the wave.
The Paradise Pipeline.
There's a wild time.
The Grape Escape.
Need to get away.
Try the Jungle Falls, the Largo Loop, the Coconut Drops and the Bamboo Shoots. Ocean Breeze Water Park, water that moves you. Oh yeah.
Let's play one more jingle produced by Peter Radd. Let's do Creekside Grooming. Peter made this client so happy. They're in Martinsburg, West Virginia, a little pet grooming center called Creekside Grooming.
Creekside Grooming, the pet grooming place for all your furry and fluffy friends.
Creekside Grooming,
142 Creekside Lane in Creekside Village.
Expert pet grooming's what we do. Call 540-662-7272. Creekside Grooming, the pet grooming place for all your furry and fluffy friends.
Grooming for your pet. Log on to
creeksidegrooming.net.
Thank you for tuning into our first podcast, and thank you to Baron Wiley in San Antonio and Peter Radd in Las Vegas. Remember, people have a passion for music, and there's such power in the combination of rhyme and rhythm, a melody. We can put that power to work for your brand today. It's the Jingle Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
AmericanMusicConcepts.com